Hi, good afternoon. These notes are on circles, and this should be page 101 in your notebook. All right, so we've got some vocabulary words that we need to take care of first. The first vocabulary word we're going to take care of is the word radius. So radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. And it's the same wherever you draw from the center to the outside. So it doesn't matter where you draw it, the radius will always be the same for that circle. The diameter goes from side to side and goes to the center. So really it's two radii put together. So to find circumference of a circle, and circumference is the perimeter around the circle. So to find this distance of this circle, we're going to multiply pi times diameter. And when we're using the symbol pi, it's roughly about 3.14. And so it's 3.14 times diameter. Or what if they only give you radius? Well, we know that 2 radius, or 2 radii, is equal to 1 diameter, so pi times 2 radius. So again, circumference is the perimeter of a circle. To find area of a circle, you do pi times radius squared. So you're going to have to find, you have to have a radius, and if you don't, then make sure you cut your diameter in half, and then you square it, and then you multiply times pi. And your area is just the space inside the circle. So we're going to find the area and the circumference of the following figures. We're going to make sure we show all of our work and include units. We're going to round to the nearest hundredths place when necessary, and we're going to use 3.14 for pi. Now, we are going to do some other things where we leave in terms of pi, just so that we can kind of practice doing it both ways. And I'll let you know what I mean. So area, again, is pi times radius squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 3.14 for pi, and then we're going to multiply times radius squared. So if you look over here, it's already given radius, so 7 squared. And 3.14 times 7 squared really means 3.14 times 49. And 3.14 times 49 gives us an area of 153.86 centimeters squared. Okay? So that is how you find area. Now, there might be some questions that you guys have in this unit where it says leave in terms of pi. So this is what they mean by that. If they say leave in terms of pi, what you do is you leave the symbol alone. Don't change it to 3.14. Still write in your radius, and this is 49. So this is pi times 49. And then that is your answer. But you're going to write your number first. So 49 pi is another way to write. So these two mean the same thing. So 49 pi is another way to write this area. And I'll show you that those are the same. So 153.86 is the same as 49 pi. So 49 times 3.14. And look, 153.86. So these are equivalent. This is the full answer after you've multiplied by 3.14. This is if they want you to leave in terms of pi. So they want you to leave the symbol in the answer. So the answer would be 49 pi. This answer is actually a lot easier to work with later on, but sometimes they'll want this answer as well. So we'll practice doing both of those. All right, circumference. Both circumference formulas are pi times diameter, or pi times 2 radii. Now, if they give you diameter, use diameter. If they give you radius, you're just going to double it. So here they give us a radius of 7. So that means we're going to use this one over here, and we're just going to double it. So pi times 2 times 7, because 2 times 7 gives me 14, which goes all the way across the circle. So pi times 14. So if I leave this in terms of pi, it's 14 pi. But if I want the full numerical answer, 14 times 3.14 gives me 43.96. So both of those answers, centimeters. Both of those answers are equivalent. And this one for diameter, or for circumference, is just centimeters. For area, it's centimeters squared. All right, number 2. Excuse me. Number 2, 16 centimeters is my diameter. So this is my diameter. Here, this is radius. So if my diameter is 16, that means that my radius is what? My radius is actually going to be 8. So we're going to use the 8 for our area. So area is pi times radius squared. So area equals pi times 8 squared, which means that it's pi times 64. So if I want to leave in terms of pi, it's 64 pi. But if they don't want me to leave in terms of pi, then I'm going to do 64 times pi. So 64 times 3.14. And that gives me 200.96. And that would be centimeters squared. So both of those answers mean the same thing. This is just in terms of pi, and this is where you actually multiply by pi. All right, circumference is pi times diameter, or pi times 2 radii. Well, this one's already given us diameter, so we're just going to use this one. So circumference equals pi times 16, or 16 pi is your circumference. If they want you to multiply times pi, then you just multiply times 3.14. And that gives me 50.24. And that is centimeters. All right, so both of those answers are the circumference of that circle. All right, so down here, what I'd like for you to do is I want you to practice doing it both ways. So give me area and circumference. Give it to me in terms of, so leave pi in the answer for one of them, and then also give me the full numerical answer. So I want 2 answers for this one, 2 answers for that, 2 for here, and 2 for here. Okay. So this is, so I want you to practice these, and then we'll come back to them. All right, over here, finding the missing dimensions of a circle. So remember how we found missing dimensions of our area on our last notes. Same here. So let's write our formulas. So area equals pi times radius squared. Circumference equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals pi times 2 radii. So we're going to use these formulas, and remember the steps go like this, and I'm going to go back to these notes here. So the steps for when they have a missing dimension: write the formula, substitute the numbers in for the variable, solve for the missing variable. So we're going to do the same thing for circles over here. So number 5, excuse me, find the radius of a circle whose circumference is 37.68. So we're going to use this formula here. So circumference equals pi times 2 radii. They give us circumference is 37.68 equals pi times 2 radii. Now, because they want us to actually find the number, we're going to change this to 3.14. And then we need to get r by itself, so we need to divide by 2 and by 3.14, so we can actually divide by both of them at the same time. So divide by 3.14 times 2. Divide by 3.14 times 2. So 37.68 divided by 3.14. That gives me my diameter, but then I have to divide that by 2 again, and that gives me my radius of 6. Okay. All right. Find the diameter of a circle whose area is 153.86 yards. So area equals pi times radius squared. They do want diameter, so if we're going to be finding radius at the end, we need to double it to find diameter. So let's plug in what we have. 153.86 equals 3.14 times radius squared. All right, what's weaker, multiplication or exponents? Multiplication, so we're going to undo multiplication. So divide by 3.14. So 153.86 divided by 3.14 gives us 49. So 49 equals radius squared. Well, what squared is 49? 7. That's my radius, but they want diameter, so then my diameter would be double that, 14. All right, and then let's do one more together. So find the area of a circle whose circumference is 56.52. So we know circumference, and if we get circumference, we can get diameter or radius. And then if we can get radius, then we can get area. So this one we're actually having to do both formulas in order to get the answer. So the circumference is 56.52. So 56.52 equals pi times diameter. Divide both sides by pi, which is 3.14. So 56.52 divided by 3.14 gives me 18. So that's my diameter. So my diameter is 18, which means that my radius is 9. And if my radius is 9, then I can take 9 and put it into the area formula. So area equals pi times 9 squared, which is 3.14 times 9 squared, which gives me 254.34. So that one was pretty challenging because you had to use one formula then get the variable that you needed to then use the other formula to get your area. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to do numbers 8 through 16 on your own. I'm going to put up the answer key in just a moment so you guys can check to see how you're doing. All right, here are the answers for the problems that you did on your own. For number 3 on the left side, 25 pi, or if you multiply by pi, 78.5 yards squared. The circumference is 10 pi, or 31.4 yards. For area for number 4, I did not leave in terms of pi because this one, the decimals were too long anyways, so I just went ahead and did the full numerical answer of 44.16 meters squared. And then the circumference, I left in terms of pi, 7.5 pi, or 23.55 meters. All right. Then on the right side, you guys completed the rest of these. So again, I wrote both answers. So for number 8, I got 361 pi, or 1,133.54 yards squared. So both answers here. For circumference, 38 pi, or 119.32. Number 9, 552.25 pi, or 1,734.07 feet squared. The circumference was 47 pi, or 147.58 feet. For area for number 10, it was, again, the leaving in terms of pi, the decimal is too long. So I just did the numerical answer of 1.27 centimeters squared, and then the circumference I got was 4, because it was 3.996, which when we round to the hundredths place gave me 4. All right, and then the 6 down at the bottom, number 11 through 16, these are where you were finding the missing dimension. So they asked for radius, so I used, and they gave me area, so I used this formula. I divided both sides by 3.14, and I got 9, and what squared gives you 9? 3. For number 12, they gave me circumference, and I needed diameter, so I used the formula C equals pi times D. I divided both sides by pi, and got 170 equals D. Number 13, it was 2 steps, so I used the circumference formula. I divided both sides by 3.14 and got 19 for D. Then I had to cut diameter in half. I got 9.5 for radius. Then I used the radius in my area formula, pi times 9.5 squared, and so my final answer is 283.39 centimeters squared. All right, number 14, I got 128 equals my diameter. Number 15, I got 13 equals my radius. And number 16, I got 12 for my diameter, so therefore 6 is my radius. All right, if you have any questions or if you see any mistakes that I make or that I made, please go ahead and comment at the bottom of the video. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow in class. Have a great afternoon.